Hi, welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know me, my name is Katharine, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my September TBR or to be read list. I can't believe September is already upon us. It feels like the year just started, but here we are. Fall hasn't officially started. It's technically still summer until the middle of September, but I am starting to feel like the pumpkin spice season is upon us, if you know what I mean. So what you'll see in this video is that I have 5 books chosen to kind of transition into the fall or autumn season and get me in the mood for fall and autumn. So let's go ahead and talk about all of the books that I want to read in the month of September. Just to preface, if you don't know already, I made goals for myself reading wise in terms of what I read each month. And I set a goal that I want to read 1 nonfiction and 1 classic per month because I tend not to gravitate towards nonfiction or classics, but I still want to read them. It doesn't mean that I don't want to read them. It's just the fact of the matter is I just don't naturally pick them up to read. So I did make a goal for myself to pick up 1 nonfiction and 1 classic per month. So I will point those out once I get to those. So let's just go ahead. So the first book that I'm going to be talking about is actually the nonfiction, and that is called Loving Jesus by Mother Teresa. Even though I don't consider myself Catholic anymore, I did grow up Catholic. I got First Holy Communion and confirmed in the Catholic Church, but I attend a non-denominational church now because I just feel that's where the Lord has me. Nothing against the Catholic Church. I don't have any, hard feelings against the Catholic Church. I just believe that being at a non-denominational church right now is where my beliefs and values align better. But I do still appreciate the Catholic Church. My confirmation name is actually Teresa. I also have another confirmation of Patricia, but my first choice was Teresa, primarily after Mother Teresa here, because I do really admire her, just as I admire the Catholic Church for having grown up in it. It definitely taught me like a reverence for God and having like an awe and a fear of the Lord, if that makes sense, in a healthy way. And I do definitely appreciate the Catholic Church for teaching me that. But like I was mentioning before, I also do still admire Mother Teresa as well. I think she definitely is someone that I look up to and that I have done a lot of research on just in the past. I think I did like a research paper for her, about her, in high school and maybe even in college. I don't remember, but definitely in high school I did a research paper on her. And she's just a true lover of Jesus and a follower of Jesus, and I definitely aspire to be like her in walking with Jesus because she, if you don't know, is a Catholic nun. If you couldn't already tell, this is a picture of her on the front, and just by her attire, she definitely looks like a nun. She lived in India for the majority of her life. I think she grew up in Eastern Europe, if I'm not mistaken, but when she became a nun, her ministry was in India, taking care of basically the outcasts of society. And this book, I believe, called Loving Jesus by Mother Teresa, is basically just sharing Mother Teresa's heart for Jesus, and basically it gives her experience loving Jesus by loving the needy and the poor in the slums in India. So I think this is just her reflections on how we can best love Jesus by serving others who need it most. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. It is a short book, as you couldn't already tell. It's not only short in length pages wise, but it also is like dimensionally very small as well. Like, I don't know if you can tell how little it is, but my hands are pretty small. I always joke that my hands are like children hands, and whenever I go to the nail salon, the nail techs are always like, you have baby hands, and I'm like, well, baby prices then. But anyways, this is like the book like as it is next to my hand, compared to my hand, and it's pretty small, like lengthwise, widthwise, height-wise. Yeah, it's just very tiny in general, and like even the text inside is like a decent size. It's like not small. It's not large print by any means, but it's also not like teeny tiny print either. So I can't wait to get to this book. It has, I think, like, let me see. No, it doesn't have discussion questions. I thought it had discussion questions. It just has like notes in the back, like if maybe you were gonna do like a group on this. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I think like not like doing it in a group setting, like without all the questions and notes and other context in the back. It says that, let me see, how many pages is it? It's only 135 pages without like the notes in the back, if that makes sense. I might also read the notes just to kind of get more context out of the book. And that would, instead of being 135 pages, it's 165 pages. But anyway, it's under 200 pages, so I'm looking forward to getting to this. I believe I can get it on audio via Audible, so I think I'll be listening to it because I do like to listen to my nonfictions via audio. It just helps me feel more engaged. So looking forward to getting to Loving Jesus by Mother Teresa. The next book that I want to talk about is Wicked by Gregory Maguire. I read The Wizard of Oz last month in August, and I really enjoyed it, and I know the part 2 movie of Wicked is coming out in November, so I wanted to read this to feel prepared in watching that. If you don't know about Wicked by Gregory Maguire, basically this is like essentially Gregory Maguire's take on like a prequel of The Wizard of Oz, and it essentially gives like the backstory of like Wizard of Oz and the Emerald City, and like doesn't even talk about Dorothy, I don't believe, if I'm not mistaken, but it talks about like why like the Wicked Witch of the West became who she is, and all about Glenda, and it just sounds really interesting to me. I really enjoyed watching the part 1 movie to Wicked last November, and I'm looking forward to watching part 2 of that movie Wicked this November. So I thought reading Wicked by Gregory Maguire would really prepare me for that and also give me more context of when I'm actually going to watch the movie, if that makes sense. It helped me understand what's going on a little bit more, and I am just really looking forward to reading this as well. I really enjoy just like the Wizard of Oz, Emerald City universe in general. It's very nostalgic to me because of the fact that I grew up watching the movie The Wizard of Oz as a kid. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to reading this. It should be a good time. The next book that I plan on reading, which actually I'm currently in the middle of reading right now. I thought I was gonna finish it in August, but apparently not. I am currently reading From Sand and Ash by Amy Harmon, and I hope to finish it in September. So it's getting to be on this TBR or to be read list. And essentially what this is about, it takes place during World War II in Italy, actually, which is a really interesting perspective because like whenever I think of like World War II books, I always think of like it taking place in Germany. I have read a lot of World War II fictions that take place in Germany, so it's nice to get like a fresh perspective of World War II, like in a different setting in Italy. I would love to find possibly like a World War II fiction book about Japan during World War II, because fun fact, my grandfather, well, it's not really a fun fact. It wasn't very fun for my grandfather It was actually pretty traumatic. But just for your information, I should say, my grandfather served in World War II in Japan. He saw a lot of stuff, so I would love to read a fiction book about World War II, specifically in Japan. But anyways, I'm reading From Sand and Ash by Amy Harmon, which takes place during World War II in Italy, and it follows two main characters. One is named Angelo, and he's basically a Catholic priest, and he is Italian, obviously, and it also follows this other woman named Eva, and she's Jewish, living in Italy, and she's an Italian Jew, as you can assume. But they grew up together. They're not siblings by any means. They're not biologically related whatsoever, but they did grow up together, like in the same household, and they end up like falling in love, actually. But then, of course, World War II comes around with like Hitler and Mussolini, and they start implementing laws against the Jews and transporting them to like concentration camps and things. And the Catholic priest, if I can speak English today, the Catholic priest Angelo basically hides Eva, the Italian Jew that they both grew up together, and he hides her in his church. And it's just like about that storyline. And like, I am thoroughly enjoying it so far. I'm about like 35% of the way through so far at the time of filming this. And Amy Harmon's books like always hit. I don't know what it is. Like, I can already feel that this is going to be a 5-star read for me. And she just is such an eloquent writer. And she reminds me a lot of Francine Rivers, if you're familiar. Francine Rivers is a Christian fiction author who writes very like deep emotional books, and Amy Harmon definitely reminds me writing wise to Francine Rivers, and I think that's the reason why Amy Harmon's going to be one of my favorite authors of all time. I usually like to give authors like 3 chances in order to become a favorite author of mine, and this technically will be my 3rd book by Amy Harmon, so if I end up giving this 5 stars, she's definitely going to be put on my list of favorite authors. But yeah, I'm really liking it so far, and I'm really glad that I'm putting it on my September to be read list, or TBR, and I can't wait to finish it in September. And since the fall-autumn season is coming up, I wanted to read some like thriller or horror books. I'm not so much like a horror person. I'm more so of a thriller person, but this was on the horror shelf when I picked it up. I actually got this from a small independent bookstore in Colorado when I was out there for a wedding. If you watched my Colorado vlog from a couple months ago, or a few months ago I should say, I actually visited a bookstore out there and I got this book. It's called How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. I'm typically like not like a very like big fan of like haunting anything, and just like as a Christian, I was kind of iffy about picking this up because I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna have like demonic undertones to it, so we'll see. I might have to DNF this book if it does have like demonic undertones to it, because I don't like to open myself up to that. But anyway, as you can imagine what this book is about just by the title, I'm going to read the back of the book because I'm kind of bad at describing books before reading them. So let me just read the back of this. It says, when Louise finds out that her parents have died, she dreads going home. She doesn't want to leave her daughter with her ex and fly to Charleston. She doesn't want to deal with her family home, stuffed to the rafters with the remnants of her father's academic career and her mother's lifelong obsession with puppets and dolls. She doesn't want to learn how to live without the 2 people who knew and loved her best in the world. Most of all, she doesn't want to deal with her brother Mark, who never left their hometown, gets fired from one job after another, and resents her success. Unfortunately, she needs his help to get the house ready for sale, because it'll take more than some new paint on the walls and clearing out a lifetime of memories to get this place on the market. But some houses don't want to be sold, and Louise and Mark Mark's home have one other plans for the both of them. So definitely sounds like pretty spooky. I'm not against like thriller or horror books in terms of like if Christians should read them or not. Like, it's a very gray area. As long, for me, this is my thing. It even goes for like anything with like magic in books. If it doesn't come off as like blatantly demonic, I'm okay with reading it. So this, at least from the synopsis of the book, doesn't seem like blatantly demonic. I could see something going down like the rabbit hole of like the dolls and puppets that this mother collected, but we'll see. I haven't read it yet, so, and I haven't really heard anything, or at least I haven't researched much into this book, so I don't know if it has demonic undertones or anything, but I am intrigued, I guess, to see what this book is about. Again, it's How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix, so looking forward to getting to this one as well. And the last book that I have here is going to be my classic book that I'm considering a classic for this month. Like I mentioned before, I'm trying to read one classic and one nonfiction per month. That Mother Teresa book is my nonfiction, so this is my classic. It's called what am I talking about? I'm mixing up the words. It's called what am I even talking about? Speak English, Catherine. It's your native language. And your own language, for that matter. I don't speak any other languages, which I do want to learn. But this is called, let's see if I get it right this time. It's called The House of the Seven Gables by Nathaniel Hawthorne. And for those who don't know, I live in Massachusetts, and I live about like 30 minutes away from Salem, Massachusetts. And The House of the Seven Gables is an actual house that you can visit in Salem, believe it or not. And Nathaniel Hawthorne is from Salem, Massachusetts. He was like a very prominent figure or like leader in Salem for a very good portion of history. And apparently I just don't know much about this book other than it being about the House of the Seven Gables. And it's by Nathaniel Hawthorne, and it's considered a classic. But let me just read the back of it for you, because like I mentioned before, I don't really know how to describe books much other than like, you know, the back of the book, the synopsis, if I haven't read it yet. So let's just see here. It says, greed, treachery, mesmerism, and murder are just some of the bricks Hawthorne uses to build the House of the Seven Gables. Generations before the present story begins, wealthy Colonel Pinchian, I think that's how you pronounce it, covets Matthew Pannell's land. So he takes this other guy's land. When Maul is hanged for witchcraft, he puts a curse on the colonel and all of his descendants. Now the menacing Judge Pinchian, I don't know, continues the family tradition of hiding cruelty under a dazzling smile while using his scowling niece Hepzibah, these names, I don't know how to pronounce these, and half-mad nephew Clifford are reduced to poverty by his machinations. I don't even know how to pronounce half these words on the back of this. But the younger generation, embodied in their distant cousin Phoebe, becomes a ray of hope penetrating the dark house. Though Hawthorne openly discusses his book's moral in its preface, The House of the Seven Gables is no dry sermon. In fact, a strong stream of poetic fantasy runs through it, which the author acknowledges by calling it a romance rather than a novel. Like his other great works, The House of the Seven Gables reflects Hawthorne's rich understanding of complex motives and of individuals caught in the unending struggle between highest aspirations and basest desires. Okay, I don't know if it's just me or if I'm just stupid, but the back of that book, just the synopsis, I don't understand it. Other than it being about some colonel who stole someone else's land and then someone being hanged for witchcraft and then cursing descendants and stuff like that. I'm hoping that this isn't demonic either, just like I'm worried about How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix, because it does have to deal with like the witchcraft, I guess, in Salem, Massachusetts. So I might be DNFing this one as well if it goes down that road of like being demonic. So we'll see. I know it's considered a classic, and I would hate to DNF a classic, especially if it's well known and well loved. But we'll see. Like, just as a Christian, you sometimes have to make decisions that would best glorify Christ. So I might have to DNF this one as well, so we'll see. But yes, those are the 5 books that I'm planning on reading in the month of September. And I'm really excited and intrigued to buy some of the books that I have on this list. I want to know what you're reading for September too. I always love learning about what other people are reading as well. So please let me know in the comments down below. But you know what to do on YouTube. Like, comment, and subscribe. It lets other people know that you want to see more of my content, and it also spreads my videos out even more to other people who might like my content. And if you're not what am I talking about? If you're not subscribed already, then being subscribed will let you see more of my content. So if you like me being silly and goofy and weird sometimes like I am, please hit that subscribe button, and then you can see more of this. But anyways, have a great day, y'all. Please do what you need to do. And I want to just thank you for being here, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!